Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. Today I'm hanging out with GM Leigh from over on Twitter and beyond, podcaster, streamer, and minifig painter.
Hi. And beyond. I like that part.
Yeah. He's actually just an eldritch horror.
Yeah, that's fair. That's pretty fair.
Yeah. So how are you doing today?
I'm good. It's Monday. I like Mondays for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So,
I
we're
think
here.
I think you're fairly unique there. I feel like most people don't like Mondays.
I you know, I I get that a lot. But Monday, I mean, it's the start of a new week.
I've been in self-employed for a
So
long
it's
time
good.
now. So like a Monday isn't really that much different than a Saturday to me.
Sure. I
You
guess
know,
that's fair.
yeah,
But do you give yourself a weekend? Like
not
some
really.
time off? You
No.
should. You should do
Sunday's
that.
like my busiest day where it's like
Ah,
where I do all the stuff like for the week. So
right. Yeah.
I don't
I
know. I
mean,
feel like, when you're self-employed, you're just kind of always working.
yeah, that's fair.
I
That's
mean,
fair.
there are people that are better than at adulting than me, so they have a better work-life balance.
I mean,
But
as long as you're enjoying and you're doing what you love, then
what that's
it's
it too.
fine, right?
Like a lot of what I do is around gaming and D&D, so it doesn't
Yeah,
really matter that much.
sure.
It's like,
Rest time's important though. Just saying.
yeah. Well, so Saturdays are kind of big deal because those are like game days, but they're
Yeah,
not like streamed or anything. So
that's good. I think
yeah,
that's important, having some non-streamed games.
yeah. It in my Saturday morning group, like I want to say like half of them, most of their games are pretty much all streamed, and that's like their only non-stream game. And then
Hmm.
they're like, "Oh, this is what it's like to just play D&D again."
Yeah, exactly. Just play. I
Yeah,
have I
yeah.
have my home games on Monday.
Well, you know
So,
what happens is when you turn it into like a business, then you feel guilty when you're playing and you're not doing it for work.
yeah.
And also you like we get into this like mode of content, everything's content.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. You
Yeah.
gotta keep pushing things out. Gotta keep like making stuff, being relevant, and it's hard and it's a
Yeah.
push.
I feel like too like if you spend a lot of time streaming or doing actual plays, it takes like playing a game that's just for fun to be like, "Oh, this is what that was like." You like
Yeah.
forget like you're not having to worry about playing to an audience, and like if you're not feeling it that day you can kind of just like fade to the back and let everyone else come forward and have the spotlight.
Exactly. Like today, I'm just a moody paladin because, man,
Yeah,
just because. Yeah.
just because. What is your home game like?
Um, home game is good. We play in a homebrew world that we all kind of built together. um, that this is actually my first campaign I've ever been in as a player. So it's
Oh
kind of
really?
weird.
How
Yeah.
long have you been playing?
Yeah. About 5 or 6 years now,
Okay.
I guess. Yeah. The Forever GM. Like,
Oh, that's
it's
a short
cool.
stint because
Yeah.
I've seen forever GMs go into the decades.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. I
You
got
made it
lucky
out
there.
pretty quick.
Yeah, I missed that seat though. I'm itching to get back into it. Yeah, it's good. We're playing in a, what is it? So it's like a dwarven sort of feel to it. Like there's a lot of ruins and everything's just kind of, there's an old world that we're trying to rediscover, and we're trying to kind of find the way back to what happened to these people and what happened to these roots, and how can we sort of dig in and find that latent magic that used to be there that's not here anymore. How can we bring it back?
Oh, so kind of like a lost age.
Yeah, very
Okay.
much so. Yeah, it's cool. It's We have a lot of fun together. The group I'm playing with, we've been playing together for a really long time, so we feed off of each other and it works out really well.
Those games can be fun. Like it's a cool way to try to kind of introduce like the world building and the
Mm-hmm.
history of the world without like, hopefully without just like info dumping on your players, where they can kind of interact with the past, right, and discover it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's a world that we're all building together, so we all kind of get our say in that. Like, here's where I'm from, and here's kind of my past, and we're all building off of each other. And like, what are we finding? And it's not necessarily up to the GM or whoever's running the game as to what we're finding. Like, well, what did you find? What's in these ruins? What is this magic item? And we're kind of building the lore as we go, which is cool.
Oh, so you guys have a lot of player agency.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Takes a lot of trust on the DM's part.
It does take a lot of trust, but it's something that we've done together for a while now. So we're not like, I found the Godslayer sword and now everybody must bow to me.
That would totally be some of our players in some of our games for sure.
Right. For real.
But it definitely adds to the immersion when the players get to have a say in the world and they're not just like running around the DM sandbox.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's nice kind of having that sort of, I have that authority as a player. I have that say still, and it's nice.
How long has that game been going on?
I guess we've been going on for about 7 or 8 months now.
It's not a bad run.
I say we play weekly, but schedule's life. We're kind of like, I don't want to play today. So
yeah.
We push to next week or whatever. But yeah, we usually play 2 or 3 times a month.
Do you guys need everyone to play?
Need is relative, but usually we're like, well, if Joe's out, I guess I'll be out too, or something.
Yeah.
Like that. So yeah.
Well, I asked because like we've definitely had campaigns where it was like that. If one person didn't make it, then we just didn't game.
Yeah.
And then I got to a certain point in gaming where I was like, look, if 3 of you show up, I'll run something and we'll play. And we'll just, we'll either make up a reason why they're not there or we'll hand wave it or whatever. I don't know, like story continuity. Like I know there's a lot of people, especially GMs, that make a big deal about it. And like I used to think it was a big deal, but literally I've came up with like these elaborate excuses why the players weren't there or their characters weren't there.
Right.
And then we start playing and like the players just like roll with it and they're into it. And I totally forget to do the thing that I was going to do because at the end of the day, no one cares. They just want to play D&D and roll some fun shaped dice.
We're just here to play. We're just here to play. That's all it is. That's all it is. Yeah.
Like no one's like writing, like we're not writing novels here.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. We used to do that a lot more when we played in person.
Yeah.
That it was kind of a like whoever shows up, like we'll run something. If it's just like a random game, maybe we'll just break out some board games or we'll continue on without you. But now that we're playing online, it's been more of that like,
yeah.
So
well, online doesn't have the same energy either.
It doesn't. No.
It's like the difference between like listening to the album from your favorite band and going to the concert. Live events just have their own energy to them, and
they do.
The bigger they are, like the more energy there is.
Well, and there's some bands that I just don't like listening to their music.
Yeah.
But I will go to every show that they have because it's just fun. Cowboy Mouth is one of those bands. It makes me think of that.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, their shows are a blast. One of the best shows I've ever been to.
I'd also think it would just be like, just the difference between being a musician and being a performer too, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe they're better performers for you anyway than they are musicians.
Yeah. Music's good, but I don't know. There's something about the
not good enough to listen to unless you're there in person.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's fine.
What? So the first character you've gotten to play in like 5-6 years. What are you playing?
I am playing an Eladrin Paladin. So I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm a terrible player. I can't hit anything. It's great. I love it.
Dice hate me as well.
Yeah, it's just so bad. It's so bad. I mean, to be fair, they're bad when I run games too, but that's at the benefit of others.
Yeah.
So the players don't usually mind when I roll bad.
I
But
tend to
being the
roll better
player,
as a GM than I do as a player.
yeah, it's weird how that works out.
And I roll my dice in the open, so I was just like, whatever happens, happens.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, but
What
that's
are you
okay.
gonna do?
What are you going to do? It's great. It's great. You know, still paladin. My
Yeah,
axe is awesome. It's
my
cool.
an Eladrin using an axe. That feels wrong.
Yeah. Well, so I come from a lumbering town,
Uh huh.
and my family, like that's how we make money, is like we live in the forest and we sell wood to people and we bless it, and it's really great. And I have my father's axe. Mhm.
Eladrin lumberjacks.
Sounded cool at the time.
I'm feeling it. Like, does he own a lot of little flannel?
Oh, of course. Absolutely. Got
Yeah,
that full plate. Yep.
full plate
Hmm.
flannel.
Full plate flannel.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah.
we do. That's how we do.
Rocking that 90s vibe.
It's a great time. Hmm. It's a great time.
So, you also have an actual play podcast where you're the
Yeah.
GM.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Want to tell me about that a little bit?
Sure. So we have Courts of Fate, which we have season 1 out now, up on any podcast listening platform of your pleasure. Season 2 coming soon. Schedules abiding. But yeah, the thing I love about our game, about Courts of Fate, is that we're running 2 groups in tandem. So I'm running one group and my friend Joe is running a second group, and we're running along the same storyline. And the players are interacting with the same story in the same world at the same time, but they have very different views on everything that's going on. And it's in the first episode that we had, both groups came upon a cave where there's some goblins in it, and Joe's group came in first. And you come into, there's a cave, there's some goblins. What do? You smack them with your stick, right? So, like you do. So, they smack these goblins and go off. And then my group comes in second, and they find this other goblin over there crying over his dead friend's buddies.
Oh no.
like so it that I think that really kind of set the mood for the 2 different groups of, like, cause and effect. Everything kind of
So
has
they
a
run
reason.
through, wreak all kinds of havoc, and then the other group follows behind. It tries to fix the havoc they've wreaked.
I mean, pretty much. At some point they kind of split off from following along the same path, and they're in different parts of the world. But it's interesting seeing how one group will interact with an individual or a group of people, and then the next group kind of interacts with somebody else, and it's like, well, I already told somebody else about this thing, where this has been locked down now. Like, you can't get in there because, like, the other group kind of came in, they already went through, and now
Yeah.
you're stuck. Now you can't get that item, or you can't do this quest, or whatever it may be. And yeah, it's been interesting from a planning perspective, but it's been a lot of fun from a playing perspective.
Is that homebrew?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's based in our homebrew world that we've been creating from my home group. And yeah,
Do you prefer homebrew over kind of the official stuff?
I do, because all the lore, and I'm going to get it wrong, and somebody's going to get mad at me,
Yeah.
and they're going to be like, no, that's so and so, and that, like, this
Yeah.
happened to this in this timeline, so that village isn't there or something. And I'm like, I just want to have fun with it. So it's my own little world.
Well, that's where
And
you got to be like anyone that runs like official stuff. I'm just like, you got to start your game with, look, this is like DC Elseworld or Marvel What If. Like, yeah, a lot of stuff's the same, but there's going to be some things that diverge and change, and maybe not
Right.
quite exactly as you remember from reading, those 50 novels or 300 novels or whatever it is.
Exactly. Exactly. Take it all with a grain of salt, and we're just here to have fun with it all. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That that stuff does come with a lot of baggage, and especially if
Mhm.
you're not like personally vested in and kind of immersed in the lore already.
Right.
To be like
Exactly.
now they'd be
Yeah.
like, I'm going to start running Forgotten Realms. And it's just like there is so much material. And also, I feel like one of the other problems is it's I remember I used to read all the TSR Forgotten Realms books,
Mhm.
and I had quite a few of the box sets, but then like fourth edition happened and the spell plague, and that changes everything. And so what you think you might have known about Forgotten Realms is like completely different now anyway.
Well, now nothing is the same. Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a
I
lot.
mean, it's great from the perspective of it exists and it's something that's there and you can pick it up and just go with it, and that's awesome. But also at the same time, like I don't I don't know what Strahd's up to right now. Like
And
I don't
you,
know. Should I know that?
if you like world building,
Mhm.
right? Like the world's already kind of built, so it's like there's
Yeah.
less to do. So you
Right.
so
Right.
you might want to do your take on it.
Exactly. Exactly. But I really love the fact that these players are running around the world and they have that direct impact, and that it happens on both sides. And kind of at the end of season one, we converged the paths and we got both groups together as one whole big group.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, that was really fun. That was a lot of fun to
Maybe it
see.
depends on the players, I guess.
It ended up being a lot of fun, but the beginning was a little awkward. So
Yeah. Was it like a superhero team up where they have to fight first and then they can work together?
well, they were kind of forced to work together
Yeah.
from like NPCs and everything. They're kind of like, you are all going to get along and it's going to be great.
We did something like that with 3 tables. Um in the before times when some fools gave us a castle
Oh
to
no.
of our own to do D&D in the castle with. So we kind of had like 3 different tables where the stories were kind of intertwined.
Mm-hmm.
And then the idea was like for us to bring them all together for the final big bad. So we ended up with like 17 players, with 3 of us kind of like co-GMing the final big bad boss scene.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's a
and
lot of people.
it is, and it's like we had this like big like castle hall with the table set up in a horseshoe, um,
Nice.
and like so Doug was running kind of like tracking initiative and
Mm-hmm.
like timed effects and stuff like that, and then I think like I was running maybe like lair actions and the secondary monsters, and Ted was running like the
Mm-hmm.
big bad, and it was this like undead um elder brain, and attached to it were like all these shield guardians, except
Yes.
for the front of the shield guardians like had these like cutouts, people shaped cutouts with all the like townsfolk and NPCs that the players had encountered throughout the
Oh
adventures,
no.
throughout the campaign. And then like they had these like chains that were like hooked into them, running to the elder brain, so that like they had to
Uh,
overcome. I must say like those players were awesome because we were able to like go through and do that battle uh fairly orderly, and it didn't break down to mass chaos. So it was a great experience. Would I do it again? Probably not. Most of the players are like, I'm glad we did it, but I don't think I would want to do it again. Like,
yeah.
because it's a lot, and you're waiting a while before
Oh,
it's
for
like your
sure.
turn again.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, we
Uh,
got lucky because, well, lucky, I say. We run two groups of three, so we have 6 players total.
Oh yeah, that's not
Our
bad.
final game, Joe played an NPC, which was his original character way back when,
Yeah,
in one of our campaigns. So he was one of the players as well. So I mean, that's a table of 7, so it's
yeah,
not so bad. But 17, I
yeah.
can't even imagine. You're waiting how long for your turn?
It
Like,
went pretty. It wasn't too bad. It went pretty quick.
oh,
We
that's
made it
good.
work
That's
because
good.
like the way it worked was like you each day you had 2 sessions.
Hmm.
One in the morning between breakfast and lunch, and then one in the afternoon between lunch and dinner. So the
Yeah.
lunch and dinner session was that final session, and like we fit it in the time frame, and we're able to like break afterwards and like have everyone kind of do their epilogue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it worked
That's
out. It
awesome.
worked out pretty good. It was cool because we've got like there's some pictures of it like someone took from like the balcony and the overview.
Hmm.
So
All those people. That's fantastic. I love that.
well, that's what's great about this hobby. Like you get to do like really cool things and have
Yeah,
these
you really can.
experiences.
You can honestly do whatever you want. It's
So
pretty neat. It's pretty neat. I love it.
so you also do like a variety show.
So we also have Mage Productions, which is kind of based around the tabletop world as a whole.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily just D&D or anything like that, but I mean, we talk to people from all around. If that's one of my favorite things that we do is campaign stories, where people just come in and tell us about your character, tell us about your game, like what's happening in your world right now. And people love to share those things. Like, here's a really cool story about something my character did. Or like GMs will come in and they're like, here's one of my campaigns that I ran, or here's what I'm running right now. Which is just a lot of fun to hear about all the things that people are doing. And it's not necessarily like I don't know the right way to word it, but it's not necessarily like a who's who in the community thing. It's just
Hmm.
like what are you doing right now? What's going on in your world
Yeah.
that you're playing in? And it's really I know for Joe and I, when we started running it, it was really interesting kind of getting those eye-opening things. And one of the people that we had on, he came on and he's like, I have this idea for a campaign I want to run. And we talked about it for like an hour. And that was one of our episodes. And then 2 years later, he came back and he's like, I'm bringing back 2 of my players and I want to let you know like how the campaign went. We ran it for 2 years and it
Nice.
was really interesting kind of hearing how his thought process in the beginning went to hearing 2 of his players coming in to telling us about the campaign. And that was super cool.
You got the whole
Um,
kind of like genesis of it.
yeah, for real, for real. And it's like, this isn't anything like we talked about. Who would have thought that a campaign goes off the rails?
And
But
folks, as always, there's links in the description so you can go click away and actually see the things that we're talking about and Leigh's talking about here.
yeah.
Uh, it makes
um,
me think of there used to be a YouTube channel called Counter Monkey by Noah Atweiler, Spoonie, and he called it Counter Monkey because it's like that's essentially what it was. Is like him like kind of retelling like stories and the idea of working in a game store and people would just kind of like hang out at the counter and
mhm.
they would call them counter monkeys. But the difference is you've invited people to come share their stories, and
uh,
from his perspective, he's just there like doing his job, and
right.
people are inflicting the stories upon, upon you,
I
whether you
can't
want
leave
them
the
or not.
situation.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But Mage Productions has been great, and we're looking to bring it to Twitch soon.
yeah,
So we're gonna split it out and kind of we're have that sort of interview period in the front, maybe take like a short break, and then have a news section in the back, kind of talk about new Kickstarters that are coming up, or new things that are out on DM's Guild, or new podcasts, or Twitch shows, or there's so many people doing so many amazing things, and it's really hard to keep up with it all. And it's hard to kind of
there's no
see
shortage of those,
all
right?
the things,
Like
right? Exactly.
actually,
Goes
like
back to that content. Everybody's
the
pushing content.
the good thing and bad thing about shows like this and that is like a lot of times you end with a lot of people that they've got things to promote, so they want to come on and they're easy to book, right?
Yeah.
And then like your viewers are just like, there are so many good Kickstarters going on right now. You're making me go broke.
Right. Yeah. I can't watch this anymore. I don't need any more Kickstarters.
Yeah. You have to be more discerning. You're gonna have to like pick and choose because any given time there's so much going on.
Right. Yeah. So that's the goal. We want to bring it to Twitch. Have it live and interactive.
And is it in podcast format now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's up on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Play, all those things.
Yeah, I grabbed your link tree, so I feel like people can probably find it through there.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of links there. There's a bunch.
Pick and choose, go crazy.
Pick and choose, go find all the things.
It's like a scavenger hunt.
It really is.
So, I had a question. I completely lost it. I was going to ask you. What is your favorite non-D&D game?
Oh, my favorite non-D&D game, like tabletop wise?
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with Princess with a Cursed Sword. Is really great. I think the original is a single player kind of tarot card style game. You pull a card and it kind of gives you a theme, and you're writing along these lines of a princess who's gifted a sword for her birthday, and you kind of have to find the sword's resting place. So it's prompt initiative and kind of built along these things, and you're kind of describing these rooms, and it's really helped with kind of world building and kind of those thought-provoking things for creating these different spaces. But there was a mod was done to the game by Liz, who I see is here in chat, to turn it into a multiplayer game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool the times I've gotten to play it, that kind of everybody takes a turn creating a room. So you're going into this room, you get a card is pulled, and based on that card, you're given a theme. So now you're describing this room based off this theme, whatever that may be. And then everybody kind of has to go and decide, like, is this the final resting place for the sword? And it's like a yes or no kind of thing. If it's yes, then why? If it's no, then like carry on, and next person goes. And it always devolves quickly into this sort of broody, moodish, dark kind of way. And it's interesting that it always goes that way. But yeah, it's fun. It's really great.
I see the war between those who want the game to end and those who want it to keep going.
Yeah. Well, and I think after a round that everybody is gone, you really get into a cadence of everybody's mood and kind of the feeling about it all, and how people describe spaces and feel about ways. And with each room, everybody can kind of ask a question, and like, what else is in this room, or what does the room smell like? And it really, yeah, it's cool. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it a lot.
So from interviewing like a lot of different gamers and having talk about their games, does any of them kind of stand out to you?
Kids on Bikes has been something that has really stuck with me. Talking about that game and talking about people running in their mini campaigns for it, has just really brought that allure of like being a kid and being in this situation that's like something's not right, and everybody kind of like patting you on your head, being like, all right, that's cool. Yeah.
My Achilles heel is play games where you play as a child.
I haven't done it yet. I want to, but
I haven't done it. I also don't want to. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, first of all, anyone can enjoy whatever they're like. I don't care. Absolutely. But for me, like, to me, it's just weird to role play children.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that
And then
for sure.
I guess too, like if you run more games that are more like adult and tend to be more mature,
Hmm.
like to play a game where you're playing as kids, I think you have to rethink that some and like change the tones of your games and your sessions to
Yeah,
fit that.
yeah, you really do. You really do. Yeah.
Um, but then
I, I
go ahead.
I think that's kind of the interest there is just that whole, you're not playing in this super fantasy epic where I am the really terrible paladin. Like you're a kid on a bike and this thing has happened. Ah,
Yeah,
what do you do? Like how do you even how do you even manage that? Like you can't drive. Yeah.
I also see like the appeal and the nostalgia, right? Because I feel like those games literally were ripped right out of my childhood, right? Because it's like E.T., Goonies, Stand
Mm-hmm.
by Me,
Yeah.
um, you know, Sandlot. Like, there's so many different like tropes that you know
Mm-hmm.
you're getting into, and like I guess in modern day would be like Stranger Things, um, where where you have these things going on. But like there's several games that I feel like they feel like they were inspired from like
Mm-hmm.
that era and that kind of like it's almost like its own genre of movies.
It really is. It really is. Yeah.
So I could definitely see the appeal. But
Mm-hmm.
I've yet to play it. I think I have the book like sitting like on the other side of my monitor somewhere. So
It's over there. It's on
it's
that
over there.
side.
I mean, the shelf of shame for unplayed RPGs.
Oh no. It's potential. It's potential.
It
There's no
is.
shame. Yeah.
Well, I feel like they're more likely to be play. I'm more likely to play those games if they're on somebody else's shelf. Because like my kind of thing is like finding people that already know the games and just getting them to run it as opposed to learning it and running it.
Yeah, we got, what was it? Last year, 2 years ago. I don't know. Time is weird now, but I everybody in my home group, we all got the Blades in the Dark book. Because we're like, we're gonna play this. It's gonna be
Yeah.
awesome. And we all got it. I think I've read like a quarter of it. I think somebody else has read about half of it. And we're all like, what if we just find somebody that knows this and then they
Yeah.
can teach us?
Yeah.
Like it's it's so much to learn a new system and to really dig into it and to find all those nuances, which is fun in its own way, but also like I only have so much brain capacity right now. Like,
Yeah. I feel like the older I get, the more I'm running out of RAM.
yeah, yeah, exactly. My RAM
So
is low
so I
and
need
I don't get an
tutorials
upgrade.
of people just walking me through it and teaching me how to
Mm-hmm.
play. It's such an easier way to learn games than
Yeah,
like reading them and being like, okay, now I'm gonna play this game.
exactly, exactly. And that was going back to Mage Productions. That was one of the coolest things that we did on Mage Productions was we would have people that love these different games that weren't D&D 5e. And it's like, tell us about it. How do we play?
Yeah.
That's how I got to play Gumshoe, which was really cool. Did like a Cthulhu version of it, and yeah, super creepy murder cult. I didn't
Sounds like
last very
fun.
long. Who would have thought?
Well, I mean, if you're doing Cthulhuian style games, I feel like you shouldn't last that long.
Right. That's the fun of it, though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the point. Going insane and killing yourself at some point is
Mhm.
is like, or gouging your eyes out with a spoon or something. That feels like what Cthulhu horror should be.
I think I ended up sacrificing myself for the greater good. Not the greater good of humanity, but the greater good of
Your group,
I don't know what. Yeah, something else.
Cthulhu, the greater good of
Cthulhu.
Cthulhu.
The greater good of Cthulhu.
Well,
All hail.
my favorite session or game of playing Betrayer House on the Hill was I just happened to I was playing the little girl character and I triggered the haunt and the
Yes.
objective was you had to do a couple. I had to do a certain amount of things, and then I would allow an elder being into the world, and I beat the players and
Yes.
destroyed the world. So I can
Good for
retire
you.
from that game. I don't need to play it anymore.
There's no world anymore. It's
And
gone.
the
It's
best
gone.
part is, like, just before the halt happened, they had given me the handgun.
Oh, great. That's
Because the
awesome.
little girl had like a real high agility, so she was really good at shooting.
Oh no. Oh,
Yeah,
that game is fun though.
it
Those
is
games are
fun.
great. Yeah.
It is. It is one of the few tabletop games that's kind of long that I like playing. Like I have a
Yeah.
time limit on tabletop games. That's where like after you hit like the 2 hour mark, it's like I'm like at this point I should have just probably been playing an RPG.
Right.
But
Yeah, that one and what is it? Above and Below are my two like favorite tabletop games. Yeah.
other than that, like I really like Smash Up. I think that's fun. I like quick
Mhm.
games that like you can just play a lot of times.
Yeah. 5 minute
Um,
dungeon's awesome.
I'm trying to think if I played that or not. I know I've definitely seen it because Ted's house looks like a board game store.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's how one of my friends in our home game.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's his house. Yeah.
Then I went like Ted's got a lot of board games. We went and hung out with DM Scotty, and like his basement was set up like a game store. Like there was just shelves and rows of like RPG stuff, terrain stuff, and like board game stuff.
That's awesome. I love that.
It is. It is. Matter of fact, I think I've seen game stores with less games in them. Have you played Quarriors?
I don't think so. No.
It's a dice building game. Instead, like you've probably played
Mm.
deck builders.
Hmm. Yeah.
Instead of that, you build dice pools. And
Weird.
yeah, but it's kind of like it's a lot of fun.
I like it.
Basically, you like have like a menu of cards laid out in front of you, and each have dice on them.
Yeah.
And everyone starts with the same generic dice, but as you go along, you kind of have currency, so you can buy these different dice, and they're like spells or monsters. And then
Cool.
as you go, you can bring them out, and
Yeah.
basically you fight the other players with them.
I like that.
It
I
it
like that.
is it's a lot of fun,
That sounds awesome.
and it's also like rolling a bunch of dice. So there's that.
Right. Who doesn't love rolling dice?
Yeah.
Right?
So it feels like a little bit like to me, even though I've not really played very much. It feels like Magic the Gathering ish, but with dice instead of cards.
I'm so bad at magic. I'm so bad at magic.
I don't think I've played more than one game, to be honest with you. I've seen enough of it played, but
I have tried multiple times because I'm like, this is right up my alley for like lore and
Yeah.
art and collecting things. Like, but I'm just bad at it.
yeah, I don't know. Like Ted and those guys, they used to be into it a lot.
Mhm.
And I guess it just hit. I guess I was at an age when it hit. I just didn't have the capacity for another hobby, so it never really like took off for me. And it's probably better that it didn't, because I would have probably spent way too much money. Although then again, it might have been a good investment because
Oh, for sure.
because Ted ended up
Sure.
selling his Magic cards and buying a car. So
Oh wow. Yeah. I
yeah,
I know a few months ago I asked my mom, I was like, hey, do you happen to know if that brown box that I had with all the stickers all over it,
yeah,
is that still around? Because it's full of magic cards and it's like this big. So there's
yeah.
bound to be something in there, right?
What
It's
is it? A
from
Mox something? Mox
20 years
Diamond
ago.
or
Yeah.
Black Lotus? Like if you have
The
those
Black
things,
Lotus. Right.
like
Exactly.
you can retire.
Yeah. I'm gonna go buy a house now.
Yeah, some of them are ridiculous.
They
Well,
really are.
Scott Garibay is another content creator who was talking about I think the Forgotten Realms Magic the Gathering crossover that either is coming up or came out,
Mhm.
and they made like 4 cards that are like designer cards,
Yeah.
and he's like, I believe Wizards of the Coast has just minted 4 millionaires Because like just certain designers got that one card. There's only 4 of them in existence.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's it.
So maybe I don't know. So like they're just waiting until they retire so they can sell that card.
You're all set. That is your insurance policy.
That's
right
way
there.
better than a watch.
It is. It really is. Yeah, it's got to be. It's just finding that right market time, but also you got to find a buyer for that stuff. Are there buyers for these things? I don't know.
If they get that high valuation, there's got to be a buyer someplace.
Somebody somewhere is doing it, right? I guess.
I don't know. There's a lot of people in the Magic, so
there really are. There's a lot of people into it, and
so
they're all really good.
You said you've been playing for 5 or 6 years. Does that mean you started with 5e?
I did. I started with 5e. I had a friend that was like, "Hey, you want to come over and play a game?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he was like, "All right, here's a book. Here's our adventure. You're going to run this game for us." I'm like, "Okay. I don't know what that means, but all right." And
what a terrible friend. Like they just conscripted you. And you're like,
really did. And I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
What was the book he handed you?
Lost Minds of Phandelver.
Okay.
Yep. So that's what we ran. That's what we did. And it was
you're the Mikey of the group. Give it to Mikey. Mikey will try anything.
Yeah, pretty much. And I did. My cat's over here.
Yeah. I seen the cat earlier chilling on the bed.
Yeah.
He must have realized the internet's going on and like, oh wait.
Exactly. Oh wait.
I hear the call of the internet.
I must go.
My
people need to see me.
Everyone knows that the internet was invented for me.
Exactly. Everybody loves the cats.
So how long did it take you from getting started in 5e, I mean being conscripted in the 5e by your friend? How long did it take you from that to going to a different RPG?
It probably took about 2 or 3 years before, because like, I guess I had first played D&D back in high school when the power went out at my friend's house, so we couldn't play Diablo. So his dad was like, "You kids want to play a real game?" And he handed us binders, and we played, I think, 2nd edition. And I was like, "I don't know what's going on."
Thaco.
It was a lot of fun. Right. I was like, "There's so many numbers. What's happening?" Yeah, but I think it was like 2 or 3 years after that I was at a convention and I ended up playing Call of Cthulhu. And then I played some Pathfinder, and I played a few other things here and there, but it's mostly been 5th edition is my choice. But that's mostly because it's what my friends know. It's what we're all used to. So we can just kind of pick up and run with it, and we can, sculpt it to our pleasure and kind of have fun with it without being too like granular with rules or everybody have to learn a new system or something like that.
Believe it or not, the earlier editions of the game were actually more conducive to people playing other role-playing games. And I say that because TSR put out a lot of other RPGs, right? It wasn't just Dungeons and Dragons. So, like, if you were kind of immersed in the company and what was going on with the company, then you were aware that you could play Star Frontiers or Gamma World or any number of other games, especially like a lot of us would get the Dragon magazine where the ads for these games would be in it. Because I remember every week one of us in the summertime would show up like with a different game, and we'd make a character and play like one session and then never touch that game again. but there was definitely a lot more exposure to it, where now you have Wizards of the Coast and they only make one game, as far as tabletop RPGs. So you're not getting it from that like your main source of information.
Yeah, it's true. Well, and I think a lot of the things is like with different games comes different dice systems, and it's really hard to kind of take that mental capacity and be like, all right, now we're running in like D10s. or we've got our D6 system. And it's like, but where are all my dice?
Yeah.
Like something just feels wrong and feels off here. I don't understand. I roll how many D6? And what means success? Hold on, I'm confused. Yeah. So
Yeah. I just saw the other day too. It looks like we're getting a new Marvel game from Marvel.
ooh, nice.
Matt Forbeck is working on it, and it's going to be their own proprietary system, the D616 system.
Oh gosh. What?
It's a riff off of the, I think 616 is the like Marvel Prime.
Right. Okay.
So my guess is it's going to be a D6 system of some sort, but that's just
Of
for the
some
name.
sort.
But like
Yeah.
again, like right, so Marvel's doing it, but Disney owns Marvel, so who knows if they'll start branching out to like other RPGs for other properties. But it's really tough because like while the industry's really growing, and you know it's been shown that like all right, I think RPG Kickstarters now, if we're not at 10, we're closing in 10 that have done $1 million or more.
Mhm.
That's still like a drop in the bucket next to like a Disney company. Like
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
like the mouse pulls out his wallet and he could drop like $1 million and keep walking and not even realize it lost it, right?
Oops.
So
Yeah. No.
yeah, it's like if you drop pocket change and you know it rolls down the street, like oh whatever, it was just pennies.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. But I mean, yeah, you're right. These RPG Kickstarters that are going out there. I think Quest is one that's out there right now. I don't think it's a
Yeah.
Kickstarter anymore. But a relative, I feel like it's relatively new. Again, time is weird, but that's one of the RPGs that I like to pick up, and play like also.
Yeah, we got session 5 of our quest game coming up tomorrow night.
Oh,
We've been
nice.
Doug ran Ingest Quest a couple years ago on the channel, and it was like a Spelljammer game. And this is like the spiritual successor, but run through Quest instead of D&D.
Yeah,
So we've been kind of playing with that.
nice. How do you like it? How do you like
I like
Quest?
it. It's got some weird mechanics. Like everything is just like a flat D20 roll,
Hmm.
and it's like you can have a failure, you can have success with consequences, you can have a success, and like you can have like your crit success. Um, and then like
Interesting.
you have like combat, and then you also have trials, which trials are a little bit like skill challenges. But
Mhm.
so like there's like an app that I think it's a third party thing, but there's an app that you can use, and if you get the um, successful consequences, they have a randomizer for it, and it's so bizarre. And it's like it'll give you two choices, and you can just pick one. Um, and one of them might be like, "Oh, you take a point of damage," and another
Yeah.
one might be like, "Oops, you wiped out a civilization somewheres by accident." So they were like,
Oops.
yeah, like that extreme.
If I
And
could not wipe out a civilization because
so
I
we
tripped
did,
over a stick, that'd be great.
we that one came up. We did use it. The trial was for baking a cake, and yeah, during baking the cake, like the cultures came together to form life. And like I don't know, like there was a Futurama episode where like there's this like sped up, accelerated rise and fall of a civilization. So we essentially like just ripped that off
Right,
in the
exactly.
process of making our cake. So it's all good.
Love that. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. That cake is
Yeah,
not a lie.
yeah, and it's like it's interesting in the sense like you get a handful of like items and they could be like anything. And like Doug was telling me like the first game that he played in, it just so happened like the game was based around this world where the like civilizations were uh, shielded by domes from the sun because the sun had become harmful, and the thing with the game they were playing was like, oh, the dome went down, you have to figure out what's going on, and he just so happened to like randomly pick sunscreen as one of his items, so it's like, oh, I'm putting on my sunscreen, right?
Yeah.
And then you get like a handful of abilities that you can either just do stuff where they have an action point cost, an AP cost, and you just start
Mhm.
the game with 10 points, and that's kind of like your currency and how you do like the cool stuff.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's really simple and fun.
Yeah. It sounds great. I've watched a few. There's a few really cool streams out there that are playing in Quest right now, and I've been watching those. And they're fun. So
Yeah. So yeah, we're having fun with our Spelljammer, food inspired adventures.
I love it. I love it. I like the food inspired bit.
Yeah,
That's really
yeah.
cool.
I'm playing this like GIF spy character. Well,
Yes.
spy is like the class, right? So,
Sure.
well, I'm like, well, he's a GIF, and like all GIFs are like mercenaries. So I was kind of like, well, I have him as a deserter because he doesn't really want to just fight in other people's wars anymore
Yeah.
because he just feels like that is kind of crappy. And I'm like, well, I took the spy thing because I'm like, well, he was just trained as a commando, right? And now he's like,
Yeah.
but now he's trying to like not fight, so he's kind of like ran away and crashed this party.
I like it.
And was like kind of working as a waiter during the party, and until like they kind of like were able to ship off. So it's been
Mhm.
fun. Yeah, a lot of role. There's a lot of role playing and zaniness in that campaign.
Yeah. That's great. It sounds like everybody's having a good time, and that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, for sure. So, what kind of games do you like to run?
I enjoy sort of, I guess, intrigue is really the best way to put it. I like having that air of mystery and that sort of like, but what is it? What is actually happening? Sort of thing. Like here's what you're presented with, but you know that like there's more to it than this, obviously.
What is your
But
top tip for running an intrigue game?
lay as many seeds down as you can, and when the players have a theory, pull on that theory. Like they're the best way to create the connection between like a player and the campaign is to use what they're talking about, because that's obviously what they're interested in, and that's where their mind is going, and that's what they're thinking. And being a player and having that aha moment or I knew it kind of thing, it's great. It's a great
Yeah.
time. They love that. So do that for them.
Yeah, I agree. Like we would get that question a lot, where GMs were like, "My players will never take my hooks. What do I do?" And like honestly, the advice is stop giving them hooks because they don't
Yeah.
want your hooks, right? Figure out what they
Right.
figure out. Let them figure out the hooks, and then you kind of like reverse engineer it from there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like with Chords of Fate, I know Joe and I had one completely different plan for how the campaign was going to go. And after that, like first and second sort of game, and seeing how the players kind of interacted with the consequences of each other, we're like, all right, we've got to go on a totally different path now. Like, because we need that, you need that interest from your players, and you need
Yeah.
that sort of that buy-in from them. And if you're going to present things to them that they're obviously either don't want or aren't picking up on, then like either present it differently or rethink your game plan. Like nothing's set in stone. Nothing has to be. You can do whatever you want with it, and you can change it on the fly if you need to.
I would say the other thing too is like talk about the game you want to run with your players before you even start.
Yeah.
Like session 0, I like to come with 3 to 5 options and be like, "Hey, which one of these would you like to play in?"
Mhm.
And then once they kind of agree on something, then we can discuss what that looks like so that I can get an idea of what they're looking for. But
Mhm.
but I always feel like as the GM, you should present several options or ideas that you're vested in and that you're
Yeah,
interested in doing, and then having
for
them
sure.
pick so that you can then put together the game that they're going to want to play. So you don't have to have those moments of, they're not doing the
Well,
things that
this is
you want them
awkward.
to do.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like a lot of session zeros that I've been in the past have been very much like, here's the campaign we're going to be playing in. What questions do you have? And I think that's really missing the mark of what kind of game do we all want to play together? Like, we're all in this together. It's not just me. It's not just you. It's all of
Oh,
us.
I want to say the last couple session zeros I've run were they went off really well because the players felt like they were doing something,
Mm-hmm.
and they felt like they were already telling stories and building the narrative before we actually started playing the game. To
Yeah.
kind of speak to what you said, if you go like do it the way you mentioned, they don't really feel like they're doing anything. It's almost like you feel like they're taking a test or being quizzed, right?
Yeah,
And they're
exactly.
not vested. They're not likely to be vested in that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's collaborative across the entire table.
It's got to be a
Everybody.
back and forth and interactive to hook
Yeah,
them.
exactly. Exactly. We're all in this together. We are all here to have fun. So let's have fun together. It's not my story or your story. It's all of our stories.
And then also, if you can kind of pull like those threads out from the discussions you had, then
Mm-hmm.
those are the hooks that are going to grab them because it's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that was
Exactly.
their idea, it wasn't yours.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Like, this ties into my story as a character. Like, that's amazing.
best
It,
system for telling intrigue based games or work playing intrigue based games.
yeah.
No, no, I'm asking.
Oh,
What do you think is what
what do
game?
I think is
What
the best
system do
system?
you think is the best for it?
I'm not sure if I know enough systems for that.
Do you have a like a go to one if your players are on board for whatever?
Usually we're playing D&D.
Okay,
Like, if we're playing a game, that's usually what we're playing.
yeah, because I know a lot of times we end up playing D&D just because, like you said, that's what the group knows and
Yeah,
kind of is
exactly.
interested in.
Yeah.
Um, we've done like I'm running a Monster of the Week game now, which is a lot of fun. Um,
Yeah.
we're running a quest game on the channel. What we do is we kind of took our like company team game
Mm-hmm.
and put it on to the channel. And so far we've run two D&D games, a Cipher System game, and a quest game.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So we're trying to like mix it up a little.
I
It's
like
hard
that.
too because like technically our company makes stuff for D&D. So
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
yeah, no, there's not. But like,
Yeah.
but we also like other games too. So it's always this tug of war.
Yeah.
Like, do we play games and use stuff from that we're making as a company, or do we want to like expand out and play other games, expose the audience to something different?
Yeah. I think all are important.
They all
All
are
the things.
important, all the
Yeah.
things, and that's
All
what
the
we've been trying
things.
to do.
Yeah. That's good. I think having that variety is nice.
So, what is the next game you want to play?
Next game I want to play, you bring up Cipher System. I've always wanted to play Cipher System and I haven't. But I think the next thing that we want to play as a whole, oh gosh, what is it called? Trophy? Triumph? Trophy, I think is what it's called.
Ooh, I haven't even heard of that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like creepy, spooky sort of thing. Yeah.
Is
I
is
want to
that
get more
new?
into the creepy spookies. No, I don't think it's new.
Okay.
I think it's been out for a while. And
Okay.
yeah.
That's cool. So you guys like you like horror?
Yeah. I like horror and I want to dig more into it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find more people that will actually, run it with me and not be like, and I'm playing Jim Bob Doodle Butt or something.
Uh,
Like, can you not do that?
Yeah, can we just not?
Can we just not?
Okay. I see. There's a system reference document. We got role playing game of tragic fantasy.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, because
Sounds like fun.
D&D is not great for horror.
No, it's not.
You can play like any game with D&D, but some games just are lent better to other systems because the system is geared towards that. With D&D, horror requires a lot of buy-in, and the players have to want their characters to be scared.
Right. Yeah. You have to want it. You have to want that. And I think that's the difference there.
And like when you're playing a game that essentially is like we fight and kill the monsters. Horror is about being afraid of the monsters.
Right. I don't want to fight and kill the monster. I want to leave the situation. I don't want to be here. Yeah.
It's tough.
It is.
We just finished up a Curse of Strahd game. And we just killed Strahd. And in the final fight, lost my second character. So,
oh no. But also awesome.
Yeah, I'm here for it. And one of the other characters died as well. We were both brought back with dark gifts. So you can keep playing those characters. Well, if we accept. One character definitely, like, they fell during the battle, took a dark gift and got back into it. My character died like at the very end. And died by, I think I had a failed death save, and then Strahd punched me. So that was that. The GM was like, "Oh, I thought you only had one failed death save." I'm like, "That's okay. It's all good." I mean,
it happens.
It happens, you know. I like it. I like it better. I like it better when the stakes are a bit higher. So I've been killed by Bobby Lasaga now and Strahd himself, so it feels good.
That's what a way to go out.
Yeah. So and now I get to come back with a dark gift. So good times. Good times.
Nice. See, it's awesome. It's awesome.
So we are just past the hour mark. Final thoughts before we head on out?
Do all the things, play all the games, paint all the things.
Nice.
Do what makes you happy.
Absolutely. As always, we mentioned earlier, links are in the description. And until next time, stay nerdy.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.